This is Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 4. Coverage you can count on.
Today at 4, the governor is taking far-reaching actions to combat the coronavirus by ordering bars and nightclubs to close for the next month.
We view that as something that could be problematic for spreading the virus.
Where the state numbers stand and the changes for colleges across Florida. Plus, the changes state and local leaders are making for the beaches as people continue to hit the sand and surf. And the emergency aid the president wants Congress to give to Americans impacted financially by coronavirus, including sizable checks. Today, state leaders announced state universities will move to online classes for the rest of the semester, and spring graduation ceremonies have been canceled. Good afternoon. I'm Greg Wormuth.
I'm Vanessa Eccles. As you may be able to tell, Greg and I are sitting away from each other as part of our effort to practice social distancing, just like many of you. So right now, let's get to the latest numbers on COVID-19 here in Florida. Florida now has a total of 192 cases. 173 of those people are Florida residents. The rest, people from out of state being treated here in Florida. There have also been 6 Florida patients who have died of this illness, including a new death in Broward County. And today, the governor said 4 people who have tested positive are students at the University of Florida. Now, throughout the next 2.5 hours, you'll hear from our whole team of reporters spread out across Central Florida and in Washington, D.C. They're covering every angle about what local and national leaders are doing about the coronavirus. We begin with Channel 9's Lauren Seabrook, who's live in downtown Orlando. Lauren, a very different St. Patrick's Day in this city today.
And Vanessa, normally by this time we would see the streets of downtown Orlando really starting to fill up for St. Patrick's Day. You can see here at Wall Street they have all their Irish flags up and it is ready for a party, but it will be eerily quiet tonight instead. Today, Governor Ron DeSantis ordered all bars and nightclubs to close for at least 30 days. That begins at 5 o'clock, and as we said, it's already really closed down here. He also said restaurants will need to limit the number of people they allow in. The CDC is recommending no fewer than 10 people in a group setting, which makes it very difficult for restaurants to continue functioning as usual. Many are going to-go orders only if they're set up for that. Others will make it groups sit at least 6 feet apart. Just before the governor made the announcement, Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer issued an order prohibiting the sale of alcohol consumed on premises until the end of March. That order essentially already closed the Orlando bars, but the governor's action really trumps the mayor's order. We spoke with the owner of 10 bars and restaurants in downtown Orlando today. He says it's going to be very hard on the entire industry, but they all know it is vital to keeping the public healthy.
Well, it'll have a tremendous impact. I mean, we've never faced a mandated closure before. These are unusual times. We need to do what's in the public safety in our judgment. We've got to act responsibly, and we worry about the impact on our employees, of course.
For many of those employees, bartenders and servers, their only income is tips, so they will really be struggling during this time and likely looking to the government for help. We've seen a few of them just kind of walking around aimlessly here, not really knowing what to do. I also want to mention that the mayor's order today does not apply to liquor stores or grocery stores that sell alcohol. Reporting live in downtown Orlando, Lauren Seabrook, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Yeah, we showed lines of the liquor stores around Central Florida as folks were lining up for their own stockpile, and we'll show you that coming up on Eyewitness News. Also, this just in, breaking in the last few minutes, stocks just finished up on Wall Street. Some good news after yesterday's huge plunge amid COVID-19 concerns. The Dow Jones Industrial closed up more than 1,000 points. Also today, the president announced new measures to help the economy recover from the pandemic. It may mean more money for you. And as ABC's Ines de la Cuartara reports, the White House is talking to Congress about possibly sending Americans that cash to help them out.
As the coronavirus outbreak slowly shuts down parts of the nation, the White House says it's considering sending checks directly to American households that are hurting, possibly in the next 2 weeks.
Something that gets money to them as quickly as possible.
Coronavirus projections have shaken Wall Street investors. However, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin insists they do plan to keep the markets open.
Americans should know that we are going to do everything to make sure that they have access to their money at their banks, to the money in their 401ks, and to the money in stocks.
The food and beverage industry reeling as many states and cities shutter bars and restaurants. And the airline industry also taking a big hit.
This is worse than 9/11. For the airline industry, this is, they are almost ground to a halt.
The president also working out a stimulus plan, asking Congress for more than $850 billion, something we haven't seen since the Great Recession. That plan would include $500 billion in a payroll tax cut, $50 billion for the airline industry, and $250 billion for small business loans.
We're going big, and that's where Mitch McConnell, that's the way he wants to go. That's the way I want to go. I think we want to get it done and have a big infusion as opposed to going through little meetings every couple of days.
The Senate today taking up another $8.5 billion relief bill that passed the House last week.
The Senate will not adjourn until we have passed significant and bold new steps.
Inez de la Cuetara, ABC News, Washington.
The president says he doesn't expect things to go back to normal until July or August. And New York's governor announced all medical and student debts owed to that state will be stopped for 30 days. Vanessa?
Cities and states across the country are taking some big steps now in an effort to curb the spread of COVID-19. 15 states, including Florida, have activated the National Guard. Some areas in California issued shelter-in-place orders overnight and urged nearly 7 million people to stay in their homes for the next 3 weeks. New Jersey has become the first state to request voluntary curfews, which means officials are warning people against non-essential travel. Schools in more than 35 states are also shut down.
Volusia County beaches, meantime, will stay open. That news just broke 90 minutes ago after the county council made a decision based on the governor's recommendations. Channel 9 Volusia County reporter Mike Springer is live on Daytona Beach. And Mike, there are some changes people will see at the beach, though.
And these changes are going to take effect in about an hour from now, Greg. And what you're going to see happen is the county is asking people to limit their groups to 10 or less and also practice that social distancing and staying about 6 feet apart. New restrictions are coming to Volusia County's beaches. The county council voted to keep the beaches open today, but it is limiting people to groups of 10 or less. It's also asking that people stay 6 feet apart, and it gave the county manager and the chair the power to close the ramps and parking if the beaches become too overcrowded and social distancing cannot be kept. Many worried about the effects of closing the beach would have on the tourist-dependent economy and asked the council to keep them open.
Do not devastate the beach side any more than it already is.
Sky Witness flew over the beach today on what would normally be a busy spring break, but there were a few people out there actually enjoying it. Those representing the union for many of the lifeguards and beach safety officers said closing the beach was necessary to keep the public safe and reduce the spread of the coronavirus.
We believe the inaction of the council has placed the public and county employees in potential danger, while thousands of spring breakers from all over North America descend into Volusia County for spring break.
The changes will take effect at 5 o'clock today. Now, the county says that people caught violating this new order here could face a second-degree misdemeanor, which is punishable by up to 60 days in jail. Reporting live in Volusia County, Mike Springer, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
About 55 minutes of the current way of doing business. It will change at 5. Also, in about an hour, Ocala city leaders will talk about measures they'll take to prevent the spread of COVID-19. During their council meeting tonight, city council members will discuss whether to close senior centers, community centers, and splash pads. The council will also go over some city events that could be postponed or canceled.
All day, Florida voters have been casting ballots in the presidential primary as officials try to contain the spread of COVID-19. State health officials have been working with local election supervisors to make sure that those polling locations are safe and clean. Channel 9 Shannon Butler is live in Orange County now, where she's been talking with officials about what they have been seeing at some of those polling sites today. Shannon?
Yeah, Vanessa, people did come out to the polls, some saying that changing Washington was more important than the coronavirus fears here. Today, there was a trickle of people at these polls here in Orange County, but it was noticeably slow here. In fact, early voting, also slow. Less than 2 million people in Florida had already voted before Tuesday. It has partly to do with that this is a primary It also has partly to do with COVID-19. Now, the polls here, they have said, have been cleaned. People here are welcome to bring their own pen, and the people that we talked to said that things seem to be going well here.
I mean, she waited till I was out of the way, but she wiped everything down, and I feel comfortable. I mean, you can't be fearful.
I just think people should come out and vote. They should not let this be a deterrent, because it's pretty important.
Now, even for a primary, usually there's kind of a buzz here when it is election day. It is definitely different today. It's very quiet. We have seen people go through these doors here, some wearing masks, some wearing gloves, things we have not seen before. We expect we will see that through the remainder of the evening. Now, remember, these polls are open till 7, so there still is time. We are live in Orange County. Shannon Butler, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
While voters in Florida are being encouraged to head to the polls, voters in Ohio are being told to stay away. State officials decided last night to postpone their primary election until June for fear of exposing voters and poll workers to COVID-19. The other 2 states with primaries today, Arizona and Illinois, are still moving forward with their elections. Eyewitness News has you covered for today's presidential primary election. We'll bring you live results and expert analysis as Central Florida decides. Join us live from 7 until 8 o'clock tonight on Channel 9. When Walt Disney World shut its doors, officials were left with thousands of meals that were supposed to be served in restaurants. Well, instead of letting that food go to waste, they decided to donate it to the Second Harvest Food Bank here in Orange County. Yesterday, 2 trailers packed with food unloaded 18,000 meals. Officials at the food bank say they've seen fewer donations recently because of a higher demand for food in stores. At the same time, there's an increase in families, though, who need help from Second Harvest. The food bank is still accepting individual donations if you want to help a local family in need. Well, Disney isn't the only local theme park closing its doors because of the coronavirus. Universal Studios, SeaWorld, and Legoland are also shut down. Sky Witness 9 flew over some of those parks this morning. You can see it was a strange sight. Empty streets and mostly barren parking lots. Disney says it also plans to shut down its owned and operated hotels starting at 5 o'clock Friday evening. Gatorland was open today but plans to close starting tomorrow. And Fun Spot in Orlando and Kissimmee says it plans to stay open for now.